Are we live? Exciting. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to our virtual learning series pre-launch event. We're here from EdTechTeam Canada. We recognize there are all sorts of questions out there, and we're hoping that we've got a panel of people that can help us get some answers and to see what comes of all of this that we're in for. So let me first start. I'm just going to share some resources for us right now. I'm going to present this, and I am assuming that that is presenting for you guys. I'm not seeing it over here on my screen. Let me just see why. Right now, what I'm demonstrating is that you're always going to run into technical difficulties when you are trying to do something new. I'm just going to get a thumbs up from my panel. Do you guys see my slide deck? Oh, that's a thumbs down. Oh boy, let's try this one more time. Oh, wait, I think I have it. Try this. And how about now? Yay! All right. So again, welcome. This is EdTechTeam Canada's presentation, our pre-launch event. Just know that all of the resources that we're going to share with you today, everything is available at edtech.team/Canada virtual resources. We will be posting this slide deck. We'll be posting the links to the recordings. Yes, this is all being recorded. And then any of your questions, we're going to compile a resource for you so you can have the answers to all of those questions. So next slide, just to give you a little bit of background on who are we, EdTechTeam Canada. We are a Google Cloud partner. We are also a Microsoft Education Global Training partner. This series right now, today, we're going to be focusing on the Google side of things, but just know if you need support in that Microsoft space, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You will see up at the top, help@edtechteam.ca. Send us any questions to that email or tag us on Twitter or Insta at EdTechTeamCan. Okay, so we have our panel with us. I'm going to stop sharing this screen and we're going to introduce you to some of our panel guests that we have with us today. And I see Jordan popped in, so that's awesome too. So let's start with just some introductions. Let's go with Charity Hellman. You're first on my list. Tell us who you are, where you're coming from, and all that good stuff.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Charity Hellman, and I have been in the classroom for 15 years until about 2.5 years ago, where I took a spell working with Michelle alongside EdTechTeam Canada. And I've actually been doing some substitute teaching at a couple private schools in Calgary for the last year. And now I find myself not doing any substitute teaching, but I'm here to help anyone who needs EdTech help. And I'm glad to be a part of this panel, Michelle.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you so much, Charity. Let's go next to Chris Webb. Where are you coming from, Chris?
Hi. So I'm in Montreal, Quebec, and I'm a high school math teacher. And I work closely with the guys at EdTechTeam on a regular basis. So we're all playing together in these strange times.
Or we are, aren't we? And just to give a bit more background, so EdTechTeam, we do have core full-time employees here at EdTechTeam, not just here in Canada. We have a full team in the States and globally. We have all people that work with us. But in addition to our full-time employees, we rely on our consultant-based current classroom teachers, coaches like Charity, like Chris, like everyone else that you're going to meet on this panel. We couldn't do what we do without them. So thanks, Charity. Thanks, Chris. Let's go check in with Danny Leeming. Danny is running this virtual live stream for us. Danny, tell us about you.
Yeah, I'm Danny Leeming. I teach at a small school in the southern interior of BC in School District 8. Yeah, I have a background in media arts and performance and digital media production, so I'm running the sliders in the background here and excited to help out.
Yeah, and if anybody is interested in learning more about live streaming through YouTube Live, we can connect you with Danny. Careful what you wish for. Just email us at help@edtechteam.ca. Okay, next, let's go. Darren Malte.
Hey. So I'm a tech facilitator in Black Gold. It's just outside of Edmonton, Alberta, and just work on getting resources for teachers and creating all kinds of exciting things that teachers can do in the classroom and then now online. So, yeah.
Great. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to feature some of Darren's resources in a bit. And you may see over in the corner, Darren has a guitar over there. And so there's a very, very good chance we might hear that guitar, Darren. We'll see.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Awesome. Okay, next up, Jonathan. So where are you coming from? Tell us about you.
Hey, so I'm from Ontario, teach in Peel, and we're specialize in math and technology as well as K to 6, I guess, programs. So
nice. Great. Thanks so much for being here. We're going to hear more from Jonathan later. We're going to hear more from everybody later once we get into answering some of the questions, but let's just continue on to our panel. I see George has just joined us, so I'm actually going to pull George out. George, we're just doing quick introductions. Do you want to, before you introduce yourself, I want to tell everybody about George. George is our only panelist from outside of Canada. So George is based in California, yet I suspect a lot of people watching
20 years ago when I was in
he works up here in Canada with us a lot, and we're thrilled to call him an honorary Canadian. George, tell us a little bit more about you.
Okay, I am from California, Santa Rosa, California. So for those of you who don't know, I'm an hour and 45 minutes away from San Francisco. So it's our biggest landmark, but it's I'm not really in the city. I'm a technology coordinator, so I work with teachers and students in the classroom. And so I've been able to, we work in a Title I school, so it's lower socioeconomic. So a lot of the stuff I work with is we have very basic devices. So we have Chromebooks and we have to create video, coding, graphic design. We do all the stuff with the Chromebook. So one of the things I have found is we're not a remote school, but because we don't have all the bells and whistles, we kind of have to come from it at a different mindset of saying, okay, instead of the have and have nots, what can we create with what we have? So I've been really surprised every time I go up to all the places Michelle sends me in Canada, is we are dealing with different names for stuff, like but we're dealing with the same situation. So that's something I was kind of bummed out this week. I'm supposed to be in Little Red River, and so I was looking forward to that. And because of all the situations we're in, I had to change, and so that was something that was tough. So that's, I'm glad that we got to do this instead, and we'll make it work. But
awesome, great. No, that's awesome, George. Thanks so much for being here, for sure. You know what? Same as you mentioned Red River, let's go next. Jordan Woolridge, who is working at Red River currently. So George, we're going to mute a little bit of background audio coming from you. But Jordan, go ahead and take it away.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jordan Woldridge, and I am the systems administrator, sole IT guy up here in Little Red River Board of Education. Been here 7 years and been doing my entire IT career in education. And yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Nice. Awesome. Yep. Great to have you. So love that we have, educators here on our panel, but then to have the people that are on the IT side of things, we couldn't do it without you guys for sure. So thanks, Jordan, for being here. Who else do we have? We have me. Oh, I didn't tell you about me, but that's okay. Let's go to Trevor. And then I think that has our whole panel. So Trevor Beck, tell us about you.
Hi, guys. My name is Trevor Beck. I am a technology trainer here at MacEwan University in Edmonton, Alberta. I'm not a teacher. I work with some of their faculty, but do a lot of work with our staff. We are a Microsoft Google blend, as well as some WebEx and Blackboard thrown in. So a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and so great as well to have the post-secondary voice on this call as well. So anybody listening, if you have questions for post-secondary, hopefully Trevor can help us out with that. And then me. So my name is Michelle Armstrong. I'm the director of EdTechTeam Canada. I'm based here in Calgary, Alberta, and just super thrilled to be able to connect with the country and hopefully answer some questions. So with that, did I miss anyone on the panel? Speak now. Okay, excellent. Well, we're going to go back to presenting this slide deck, and then we are going to, come on. And then we're going to get to some questions. So we're going to show you right now a few resources. Before we show you those resources, I do want to talk about the chat. I'm unable to pay attention to the chat, but I am assuming the chat conversation is going great over there. We have Emily Fitzpatrick is running our help account in the channel, and then we also have Michelle Sturba is in there chatting with everyone, and I'm sure a bunch of other amazing educators participating in that chat. So thank you, all of you that are in there. Next up, so the reason that we are here, we've launched our virtual learning series, Teaching Online. We are thrilled with the response we had from this. It filled up very, very quickly. We are offering another series next week, or sorry, 2 weeks from now. If you want more information on this free series, there's the link for you. This is also thanks to Google Canada and Google for Education. They have supported us in being able to offer this 100% free. So we're just absolutely thrilled that they're able to make that happen. So thank you to Google Canada and Google for Education. All right, why are we here? Every second is something new, it seems like. And so we know there's lots coming at you. We want to slow things down a little bit and show you here's 4 key resources that we think you can start with. So those of you that weren't able to get into the virtual series, we've at least got something where you can get started and start learning about these tools that we're going to be talking about in our virtual series. And of course, we know there's questions, and I mean, really, we just want to learn too. So we're thrilled to be here learning alongside you. All right, the resources we're going to talk about, there's 4 of them. Again, down at the bottom, I posted the link to our site where we're going to be posting all of these links that I'm going to share with you now. But if you want to get your screenshot chops going and take some screenshots of these pages, definitely do. If you want to get your camera and take some pictures of these links, do what you have to do to get these links because they are awesome. So the first thing we need to talk about, this is the Teacher Center, Google's Teacher Center. This is a place where you will have all sorts of resources. Let me just go to the next page. Inspiration for all of the Google tools that we're going to be using in our classroom. So for example, you will go into the resources by tool. If you want to start learning about Google Classroom, there's information for you, Google Docs, Google Forms, slides, and so on. The list keeps going on. Et aussi, c'est disponible en français. Those of you we know are teaching in French environments, either French as a second language or immersion, go to the Teacher Center, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll be able to change that language, and you'll have those resources aussi en français. I'm not sure, we don't have Joël Charlebois with us in this call, but I think he's going to be in the event this afternoon. But we do have a network of French educators that are also helping us do what we do. So we are thrilled with that. Next, YouTube. We know our students, our children love YouTube, and learn at home with youtube.com. This is a compilation of resources that YouTube has collected for different age levels. So if you go to learn at home with youtube.com, you'll see they have channels specifically for our older kids, channels for those 5 and older, and then of course, those preschool students. I think there's a lot of preschool educators out there that are wondering, well, you know, how do we do online with our younger kiddos? And YouTube has you covered there with some ideas. Learn at home.withyoutube.com. And next, oh, this is just an example. This is actually the preschool channels that they've collected. And there's more than just those 3 that I've posted here. Definitely worth taking a look into. Thank you, YouTube, for that. The next thing that I want to announce, by the way, all of these things have been announced within the last couple of days. Teachfromhome.google is brand new. Like I say, I think maybe yesterday or the day before. We are thrilled that our partners out in the UK had a hand in this. So EdTechTeam UK, kudos to you guys if you're listening, and thank you for helping Google UK with this. But this is a beautiful resource that just helps us get our heads around, okay, how do I teach remotely and using video calls, Meet, Q&A, so on. How do I teach remotely without video calls? So it gives you ideas on what you can do without video calls. And then, of course, how do I make sure to keep in touch with others? There's more resources in there than what I just showed you here. Teachfromhome.google, definitely worth checking out. Thank you so much for them for putting that together. And then the last resource I want to show you, and then we're going to get into the Q&A. Darren Malte, Black Gold School District. You guys are amazing and post all sorts of resources. Darren has created bit.ly/remote tools 2020. And so now this is a site that Darren and his team will continue to update as new things become available. So what we've decided at EdTechTeam Canada, we can't keep up with this. Darren's already doing it for Black Gold. We're just going to leverage what he's already creating, and we thank him so much for that. So within this website, it's step by step. Here's where you start. Let's get Google Classroom. Let's get Google Meet, or and gives you great instruction on how to get started with that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Darren. Do you want to say a little bit more about that, Darren?
Well, just how abrupt this was for everyone to get from a classroom environment to an online environment didn't have a lot of notice. And I think it was a lot of triage, just what does an online environment look like? What's communication with parents going to look like? And just getting that as your first established, your online presence. And then looking at how students are then going to respond to you and what tools to use for that. And then looking at some resources. I think some people made the mistake of maybe throwing out thousands of resources so quickly before we even had established these online environments. And it was just an overwhelming avalanche of things for most teachers. And I tried to make it, in my support of teachers, just the most streamlined and simple as possible. Just get you online, and then we'll worry about how students are responding. And then we'll worry about the lessons and the content and the assessment and all that other stuff. So just step by step.
Nice. No, and that's what we have to do. So thanks so much for that, Darren. Awesome, awesome. All right, and so that's it. Those are the 4 things that we wanted to share with you. Again, there's the link where you can find those resources. We're going to turn things over to the Q&A. And so I'm going to stop sharing this screen for now. Stop presenting. We are assuming that there are all sorts of questions coming in on the chat. I think we've got Emily and Michelle are manning it. We have a doc behind the scenes here where we have some questions that came in before this recording, and we're just going to start with those and just see where we get. So to kick it off, first question came in. This was actually our sign up for our next virtual learning series. We had an opportunity for people to ask questions. So some of these questions are coming from that. And this is Courtney from Alberta. I think probably one of the most important questions we have to ask. How do we shift the mindset from face-to-face learning to online learning? We can't just replace or replicate our usual day and the way that we teach in class. How do we teach online? And so I'm going to turn it over to Darren. I think, Darren, you've got some ideas, and then if the rest of the panel has ideas, we'll get to you.
Sure. I mean, one of the things that I have a video on the site that shows what they're doing in Hong Kong, and that was a video from week 3, and they're now in week 6. And what I really liked was just the communication of a weekly schedule, and then the actual lessons where it's the teacher talking in a quick video lesson. A lot of it's asynchronous, but they do have a synchronous, at the same time for some of their lessons and some of their needs. But just the idea, you're going to be recording something and giving some resources, and then the students will be responding. And that's kind of the new normal in a really simple terms, right?
Awesome. Great. No, thanks, Darren. And so that link, Emily, I'm assuming you're listening. If you haven't seen it in our doc here, Emily, if you can post that link in the chat, the link. So the video's on your site. Is that correct, Darren?
Yeah. And as soon as I find the link, I'll pop it in there.
Oh, got it. Awesome. Okay. And do you know what? The reality is we're all kind of scrambling, aren't we? Right. And so that's another lesson or a message that we need to be okay with. Like, we'll get this. When we get it, we'll get it. And so, Darren, thanks. As soon as you get that link in there, Emily will paste it over in the chat. Awesome. Anybody else have any comments just on what does online learning look like different than
Michelle, I could just speak from my perspective watching my daughter over the last week. Her school got up and running in 2 days, and they really anticipated it. So they had a plan in place and they were able to launch quickly. And they really focused on 4 tools. They're using Screencastify, Google Classroom, Moodle, and Zoom is how they're using what they're using for their meetings. And they didn't try to stick to this is your daily schedule, like just like it is in school. They put out a schedule where each student would meet for about a half-hour slot each day with their teacher. And then there would be time in between those half hours for students to maybe do some of the work. They could email their teachers, of course, but they really looked at the schedule and rearranged that. And it's really working for the kids. I think they're really being able to just connect with their teachers in the first couple of days, because now they're on spring break.
Oh,
And the connection, yeah, so they had a few days, they got used to it, teachers and students, and now they're on spring break and teachers can kind of breathe for a second, but the students and teachers now know what it looks like and feels like, and they can hit the ground running after spring break.
yeah, I like what you said, that there's still this ability to connect, right? We can still connect, just like we're connecting right now. We can still give our students that opportunity to do that. And that's so great to hear. Let's go on to, George.
Yeah, well, I've been waiting because this is the second time that we've had something like this happen in our area. With a couple years ago, we had the fires, and we totally got broken out of it. And it's been interesting that this time around, how the mind shift. And I'm not saying that hopefully this never happens again, but the mind shift from a lot of the teachers that I work with, that now they understand that what the kids really need in this environment is you can give them packets, or you can give them a Chromebook, or you can give them a device, but what they really need is you. And one of the things that's been really powerful with leveraging video, leveraging some of my teachers already have YouTube channels, so they assign the packet along with the YouTube video that they created themselves. Of there's a kindergarten teacher that I'm going to show you when we come to it, where he's basically created his bedroom or his guest room, has all the stuff on the back wall, whatever he's teaching, and he just does a short little 5-minute video of him going over the stuff. And so that's been the biggest shift, is that there's not anything that we can give you that's magical. You're the magic. And right now, depending on where we're going, I know right now today, we just found out that California has suspended testing. So our focus is not anymore getting to the test. Our focus now is getting our kids prepared for, if we don't come back when they graduate, how are they still going to be at the moment they need to be? So that has been something that's been interesting. So hopefully this time period will give us a chance to look at us, how we teach and how we reflect. It's us in what we do.
I love that so much. Like, it's so true. Like, there's always this worry that technology is going to replace teachers, but the reality is, no, like, no way. Education's nothing without us. So thank you, George, for that. I do have a message from our chat that somebody would like to know where those resources are in French. So that was the Teacher Center. And if you just scroll down to the bottom of the Teacher Center, then you'll be able to change that language into French. So that's that one there. One more thing I also want to comment on, Charity, you mentioned Zoom video webinar software, which is great. You can have it on a Chromebook. Currently, we're using Google Meet. So Google Meet, similar to Zoom, you can have, gosh, I don't even know, I think 500 people here in Meet. But our virtual learning series, the very first day, is let's figure out how to use Google Meet so that we can connect with our students. So that's coming up tomorrow. So next question. Yes.
For just one sec. For teachers, you might be looking at a comparison between Zoom and Meet, but for me as a support person and for communicating with teachers and for people really quickly, it's been an absolute lifesaver, because I've just made a Google Meet room and it's just so seamless. So I know there's different features and maybe more features with Zoom as far as control of the classroom, but for you and saving your life with communicating with your peers, that's been really important for me. Like, unbelievably important. The ease of it, doing it in a calendar, just all that stuff's made a Meet really valuable thing, despite the fact you get the whiteboard and things in Zoom. So
yeah, no, great to know. Yeah, thank you. No, it is. It's awesome. I do also want to be clear, like like as much as Google is supporting what we do, we love Google Meet, and we also love Zoom. We use Zoom for some things too, and so just want everybody to know we're promoting these tools because we love these tools, not because people are telling us to promote them. So I appreciate that, Darren.
Sorry, one more thing. Okay. Oh, I was just going to say that if someone's at the point where they're pointing out the weaknesses of the tool, they're probably technically ready for the other tool. You know, if someone's really not sure what to do online for video, a video meeting, like Meet is a great start. And if they're going, hey, I'd love more control, then moving to something else, maybe they're at that point then, right?
Well, and you know what I love too about Zoom about Meet is it's almost like Google's listening. Like you hear like, oh, why can't Meet do this? And then boom, actually Meet can do that now. It's like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. Sorry, Trevor, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I just want to say, because again, we had 3 days for our faculty to get all their stuff around and all our admin people and stuff. The big thing that we've kind of take away is, what is the tool that everyone has access to? Don't care about the feature set, the communication, like Darren said, let's get people talking and communicating. And then afterwards, if you need something more advanced. But in our case, everyone uses Microsoft Teams for the chatting. Well, there's one button to click on to go to video. And if that's the tool that everyone's using, start with that and get the communication flow going.
Nice. Yeah. Keep us comfortable too, right? So, yep. Great points. All right, let's move on. The next question, and this has come in from multiple people. They're asking, how can students submit their work? How can they share work with each other? How can they share work with their teachers? I'm going to turn it over. Jonathan, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So Google makes it kind of simple with the fact that you can share Google Docs with each other that way. Classroom, and I know Chris and I will be doing Classroom in our virtual summit. So you can learn about how we organize and assign assignments, rubrics, adding in feedback with Classroom. And I would also go to the Google Teacher site to learn more about how to share and how to work through all that. But that's probably the simplest idea to things, is just using those Google Docs to share.
Awesome. Thanks, Jonathan. Anybody else have anything to add just on how we're going to coordinate things with our students? Excellent. Next question. Actually, and this ties in. So Jonathan, you and Chris are running the session on Classroom, and we're going to look at third-party tools that we can incorporate in Classroom. And we had a question from Simone from the Northwest Territories wondering about Jamboard. And so Chris, I think you can tell us a little bit about Jamboard.
Yeah, so Jamboard actually is like a physical device. But the cool thing about Jamboards, and Jamboards essentially, if you're using a smartboard in your classroom, it's essentially like a fancy smartboard TV thing on wheels. But Google made the software that the Jamboard runs available online for free. So you can actually just go to jamboard.google.com and you can start a new jam. And you can draw on the screen, you can invite other people to draw in that Jamboard session with you. You can throw in different resources. There's like Google's cool auto draw tool where you can like draw a scrappy tree and it turns it into a beautiful tree. Like so all those things are available in there. But the magic happens when you use it on an iPad or on a Android device. And then you can start to throw in Google Docs. So you can actually pull in a Google Slides presentation and you can pull out individual slides. You can write on top of those slides. Other people can write on top of those slides. There's different backgrounds. It's really awesome.
Nice.
Chris, the thing that I discovered today was that in the app for Jamboard, whether you're on whatever device you're on, or if you're on a Chromebook that launches those apps, that you can put PDFs in, because that was a concern of some teachers, that the content from Drive, your docs, your PDFs, anything from Drive, again, you can put those in, whereas the web version you can't. So
exactly. And another little tip as well, if you're working on a Chromebook and that Chromebook allows you to install Android apps, which a lot of them now do. If you're using a school one, you may be restricted there. But a personal Chromebook, you can actually download the Android app and run the full Jamboard experience on your Chromebook. And if it's touchscreen, you can draw on the screen too.
Yep.
You know,
I just want to jump in real quick, actually. I just want to thank Chris live and get it recorded on YouTube that I owe Chris a steak dinner because he showed me Jamboard, and it basically does everything you've ever wanted to do with anything. So if you're looking at all the stuff we're going to show you, Jamboard is basically the solution to it all. So if you've never played with Jamboard, you can load it on your phone. You can use it on a Chromebook. You can use it on any device, but I cannot believe, and Chris, I will name my next child after you. So thank you.
George, you should share our other discovery that you were joint part of with Classroom.
Oh, you can share Jamboard through the classroom and make a copy for every student. So when he shows you that thing, I'm not saying anything about my session. My session's incredible, but if you can just make sure you watch his Jamboard session, you will be away going, that's magical. And one, how did I not know about it? And two, how's Chris so amazing? So I just want to tell you that it's changed my life.
Can I also just say that Jamboard is such a great tool. I know lots of math teachers right now are like, what tools do I use? Going to be a great tool for math teachers out there.
You can make your background squared paper, like a grid, or like even like isometric dots. It's so cool.
So now we're turning into the Jamboard show. I think we should just launch a Jamboard and show it live. But no, in all seriousness, I want to comment on just a couple of things. So George said, like, oh, be sure to see Chris's session. Well, our virtual learning series, we've meant it to be like a classroom experience. And so those sessions are all full currently. Like I said, we're launching another one. We'll have Chris back. But Chris, I suspect, if we give him a steak dinner, he might be able to record something for us on Jamboard. So for those of you that weren't able to get into the virtual series, thanks, Chris. We'll get him to create something for us that we can all see. And yes, thanks, Charity, for commenting about the chemistry, the science, the math. That was asked in the chat. It was also asked previously by a bunch of people. So thank you for commenting on that. Darren, what do you got?
Just made a good point in the chat about using the tools that you're already using. I mean, if you're not using anything, this might be problematic for you. But I think the longevity of this down the road, you don't want to start using all these things where you're going to come back in September and it's things you want to use and now it's paid. Like all these things in this environment you already have are generally free and easy to use, and you can use them not just for now, but some of these things like recording student learning and students annotating. It's not online learning, it's just good learning, and it's something we want to continue and something we want to be sustainable. So if it's a paid app you're going to use for a while, I think that's not necessarily a long-term solution.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. Absolutely. All of this is great points. And I just love just the knowledge and perspectives in this room and in the chat. Thank you guys all so much. What do we got? Okay, oh boy, we're getting into some rabbit holes here of questions. Let's do this. I'll ask the first question. So someone did ask, like, I want to create videos for mini lessons. Like, how do I do that? What's the easiest way? Anybody want to comment on that? Chris, it's like, pick me.
So I discovered this totally by mistake, so I was playing with Meet the other day, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna see whether I can record my session. And if you open up a Meet with yourself and you hit record, you can screen share to yourself, and you can like record yourself talking on the screen. And if you hit the record option, which is now free for us because of the craziness that's going on in the outside world, when you close your Meet with yourself and your no friends, you get a video of that which is saved in your Google Drive. So you don't actually even need anything installed on your computer. And why I'd never thought of this is beyond me.
Well, and then I've got to take it one step further. I just found out this morning that we can live stream Meets. Like, anyway, we won't get into that craziness, but I love that suggestion. Chris, awesome. George, did you had something else?
Okay, so I just want to tell you, I'm always going back to the Chromebook. So I know that there's iMovie and there's all these great things, but on a Chromebook, there's a program called WeVideo, and I'll put it in my sessions, my resources in the chat, but WeVideo is basically iMovie for Chromebooks. So if you just want to do a very basic thing, there's a great way to get started. It's very intuitive. Some of the stuff that I'm a Mac user also. Some of the stuff I wish iMovie had, it's in WeVideo. But again, it's easy to create. But I do recommend, if you just want to create yourself, looking at yourself and you showing stuff off, using the option that Chris just told you with Meet. If you want to go a step further, using Jamboard as you're writing down on your screen, like, annotating whatever you're talking about, and then recording that through Google Meet. I mean, it just takes you to another level. But WeVideo is my go-to video editing on a Chromebook.
I want to also chip in and say, yeah, WeVideo is great. We have our photography classes up here use it. And from a back-end perspective, if you're running your own tenant, say if you have a smaller school district, it integrates with Google really nicely. So you can pull groups from there and automatically give your students the licensing without a whole lot of busy work.
Nice.
Oh, and they just made it free too. So along with all the great resources, now it's one of those things on there that you can use until end of May, or I don't know how long it's going, but they stepped up their game. So I just want to make, at least in the US. Actually, I should probably say that before I get in trouble, but I'm sure it's everywhere.
I could only imagine. Yeah. Darren, did you have something?
I just had a very short thing that a lot of teachers wanted to know how to use Screencastify, but you can't Screencastify yourself turning on Screencastify. So I used Google Meet to record myself recording a Screencastify video, and it was a great way to show people. Yeah, it was like an inception moment, but that's what I used to record.
And that's also on your website as well, right, Darren? Yeah.
Yeah, all those little simple tutorials are on there, yeah.
Perfect.
Michelle, quick tip for people. You guys aren't doing broadcast quality shows. Okay, so don't get hung up on it, right? Because I know people will sit there and they'll have to have their little pointers and everything else. You want something quick and dirty that communicates, something that's short, doesn't take up a lot of your time. So don't focus too much on the special effects and stuff. Just as long as the students can see what the information is that you're trying to communicate, you're fine.
And so does that mean we can't get a fancy boom mic and headphones like you've got there? Is that what you're...
And the most beautiful video, Trevor. Like, Trevor looks great. The rest of us look like...
Yeah, but Darren's going to be answering the rest of the questions in song, which I can't do.
Yeah. All right. I think this time, Darren.
Apps launcher, call it the waffle.
Oh, Darren. All right. We'll come back. We'll come back. All right. There was another question in the chat and asking, if you are a teacher and have never done any virtual teaching, what is the one tool you would recommend for a teacher to adopt as that very first step?
Classroom.
I think, Michelle, just getting connected and getting familiar with Meet. First of all, that's step one, right? And then classroom would be number two.
Classroom, Meet. Anyone else?
Yeah, I would say classroom. Even if you can't do a video or face-to-face, at least you're having some sort of conversation with your children. You can assign the homework. You can organize yourself. You can even create Google Forms right into it to have like little surveys back and forth. And if you do get into videos, you can easily post videos through Classroom.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
If you're not techie, I would recommend Flipgrid, because if you've never used that platform, they can record individual videos back to you. So I had a couple teachers that have done music. Their kids recorded themselves singing their solo, whatever, and the teacher was able to like have interactions. I've had other teachers just be able to say, "How are you doing?" And instead of and then asking the question, if you're okay at the end of this video, say you want this to be posted. If not, it's just private between you and the teacher. So again, going back to that check-in, the one thing the kids are feeling right now is the absence of classmates, but also the absence of you. Even if it's a kid that was having a hard time with you, they're just used to you and being at home and being isolated. Flipgrid is an easy way to just kind of send out a grid and have kids record on their phone. Because one of the things we're having problems with is we don't have every kid have a computer at home. We don't have access to the internet, but most of our kids have access to a phone. And Flipgrid is one of those things you can do for assessment, for connection, for talking. You can quickly do that.
Awesome. And just so everybody is aware, Flipgrid, that is a Microsoft product. Microsoft made it free a little while ago, and it's just super user-friendly ways to post videos of yourself. Awesome tool. Anything else anyone suggest?
Well, I just want to add that I think Meet has saved my life. I agree with people, just phoning is awesome, and the Hangouts dialer can do that if you don't want to use your home phone. But also the screen share in Meet has been the most vital thing for when I'm on with people and they're wondering, how am I communicating? How am I running Screencastify? How am I getting my website? How do I do, how do I? I just jump in this meet. It's always the same. Present your screen. I walk them through it. It takes me 1 minute, not emails back and forth. So it's just effective communication. And that can be a phone call, but I really find this video, the sharing is.
But that's what I just want to comment on. Emily's just put it here for us in our chat. Brian Carpenter said, you know what? Let's not get hung up on this technology. By the way, Brian teaches at an online school. How about just make a phone call home to your parents? You know, like to connect old school. It's like, oh yeah, that's awesome. So thanks, Brian, for suggesting that as well. I may have missed some chat in there, but let's go on to some other questions. What else did we have? Let's get into IT stuff. Let's put Jordan and maybe Danny on the spot here a little bit. Andrea from Newfoundland, she asked, we need to get secure HIPAA compliance for our Google. My understanding is we need to sign a BAA. So for those of us that have no idea what that means, the reality is there is compliance for those that are setting up Google. How do they do that? So I'm not sure, is that Jordan or Danny? Do you guys, either one of you want to comment on that?
I haven't set up our district for HIPAA yet, but I read through the document and it's very well documented how to do it. You would sign up for the BAA and then you're only allowed to use the core services. So no Google Plus and no contacts. And then they go by app down the documentation, exactly what you're supposed to do to be compliant. But when you get into the weeds is when you're, say, using Google as your identity provider for other services such as, who knows, Clever or whatnot. You have to really check with those down the line vendors to make sure they're also HIPAA compliant if you want the government seal of approval. But other than that, if you're just in your own ecosystem, it's pretty simple. It's a little onerous going through the checklist, but it's nothing that nobody can handle if they just take the time and read each step. And we could link to that PDF. I'm sure someone's got it. I don't.
Yep,
Okay.
Emily just posted it in the chat, so that's perfect. So yeah, and so thanks, Andrea, for that question. Danny, anything else on security privacy stuff? Nice.
And sorry, I just wanted to, if you're a Microsoft environment, they actually have just a checkbox and it automatically sets the HIPAA or whatever your geographical region is or whatever privacy you need to be. They have pre-made templates in their security in the back end. You can just set it and it's done. So
Perfect. No, that's great. Something else, and I just want to remind you, and I think I said it earlier, help at edtechteam.ca. If you have questions about this and you need to know more, reach out to us there. We can connect you to Jordan. We can connect you to Danny. So just know these guys, all of these guys and more are kind of on standby to help answer questions, which is so cool to see everybody banding together. So thank you guys for that. Question maybe as well for you, Jordan. I suspect, have a number of districts and schools. Actually, I know like this, they're not set up with Microsoft or Google. Like, what do they do?
Well, when I saw the pre-list of questions this morning, since I hadn't done it in a few years, I figured, hey, let's start it up. So I bought myself a new domain and I was ready from scratch, not having anything in 15 minutes. They really is fast. The only thing you're waiting on is the domain registry for your mail records. So what you want to go to is, I can bring the link up. I think it's education.google.com perhaps, and you can sign yourself up. If you are worried about stepping any toes at your IT department, you couldn't even do it yourself. You buy a cheap domain, set it up for your students or your kids, and as long as you have the blessings of the parents, it's really straightforward, and they walk you through it step by step. And I know, and it's free, and they give you a 14-day trial while you're waiting with like up to 50 users, I believe. So if you're just trying to do your classroom, if there's any teachers at home or say parents with 4 or 5 students, family members, they could really do it themselves. Like it's a fun and easy project if you like this kind of stuff. And yeah, it's a chance to buy your own domain and get your own personal name out there if you so choose.
Nice. Awesome. Thanks, Jordan. Now, I mean, I'll guess reiterate what Danny said too about like let's not go cavalier or go rogue, but the reality no, but the reality, I get it. The reality is like sometimes if we need Google Classroom, it's an option, you know,
Yeah.
for the time being kind of thing. Yeah.
I also, as an IT person, don't want to advocate people going rogue and doing crazy things. It stresses me out. But if you, say if you have a bunch of family members, cousins, nephews, nieces, whatever, and you want to do it yourself, you definitely can do it and share resources that way. And yeah, like Michelle said, if anybody out there watching needs help with it, fire us an email.
Nice. And I do know that Google has put extra resources in place so that they are approving these requests. Like I think 24 to 48 hours, you could be set up with the Google for Education domain. So
yeah, and even if your principal just gives you the go ahead saying, hey, you're allowed to do this on your own, don't tie us in, but you can use our name, then you get the free full thing. And you do everything we're doing right now, host this meet session, really the possibilities are endless.
Awesome. Thanks, Jordan. Anything else on that, you guys?
Can I jump in there, Michelle? My mic's working now, I think.
Yeah,
like if you're a district that's starting sort of maybe from scratch and you don't have an online environment like this created yet, Google, I would think, would be the fastest. Jordan can probably confirm that with me. It's going to be the fastest to get off the ground and running as well. It's going to take you 24 hours to prove that you're a school, and then away you go, full functionality, where something like Office 365 is going to be a lot more legwork to get running for kids at home.
Agreed.
Nice. All right, let's go to next question. What do I have? We had Suzanne in Alberta, Rose in BC, many others. How do we run school for kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2 in a digital environment? And so one of our trusted experts, her name is Susan Stewart. She's also based in California. Susan has a beautiful website, primarily google.rocks, and hopefully Emily will put that in the chat for us. I talked to Susan this morning. She is halfway done a blog post on, yes, this is how we can do this with our younger kiddos. She's going to get it posted as soon as she can, but that will be at primarily google.rocks. So we encourage all of you lower grade teachers to check that out for sure. Does anybody on the panel have any advice for that?
I just saw actually a tweet the other day, and it's such a simple connection to make using Meet or Zoom or whatever your virtual conferencing. I saw a teacher, they did show and tell over this. They've been using index cards to hold up with, how are you feeling today? And they draw a picture and hold the index card up. It could be so simple to connect and just keep going with them.
Nice. Awesome. Love that. Good.
I was going to say that some of our teachers are recording themselves reading books, and one of them was just in a slide that they shared. And so they had the chapters that they're reading and some simple questions, and they had audio that they had recorded in there that they're sending out. So just audio.
Yeah. I know for my my son's like 5, so what he misses the most is just his teacher. He just misses, right? So just having even a quick video of saying hi to everyone, you reading a book, or singing a song, or doing something that reminds them of their classroom. That's what they miss the most.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that the case for all of us, though? Really, like, connection with the teachers has been really important to me. I'm a little bit of an extrovert, shocker, but just connecting with people and all the teachers has been really important to me.
Yeah. No, it's so true. It really, really is.
My teachers.
There's some authors that are allowing you to record your read-alongs with books as well at the moment. I'm sure we can find the link for that and send that out as well.
Well, the only one you need is J.K. Rowling. She's allowed you to be able to do that. So I've been reading to my kids and recording them for my students.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's great. So I want to go back. We do have another question here in the chat specific to the chemistry. So we did talk about how Jamboard can give us this interactive whiteboard. Any other suggestions for the math formulas, chemistry formulas? What are some strategies that chemistry and math teachers and other science teachers might be able to use? I might throw this at Chris Webb. Uh-oh. Anyone? Jonathan?
Sorry, can you repeat your question, Michelle? I was looking for the link for the authors.
Oh, no worries. No, it's how do we support chemistry teachers, math teachers, those teachers that need sort of high-level formulas and equations. What do we have for them? Jonathan, I see you're at the ready, or Chris?
Yeah, like I would go with Equatio, text helps Equatio. John, you were going to say the same thing. So that in conjunction with Jamboard would be my go-to. So teachers get Equatio for free, so you can sign up for the free version, for the full version for free. And like some of the stuff it does is crazy. You can like take a photo of something you've handwritten and it turns it into an actual equation. And they have a math space as well where you can pull in graphs, you can throw them into Google Slides, into Google Docs. It's really awesome. And even the stuff that the students get, the basic stuff that they get for free is pretty cool as well. And I think Text Help are also doing some stuff at the moment as well. So you might even get access to everything.
Nice. No, that's great. Anybody have any other advice or info?
I just want to say that I know a physics teacher, a high school physics teacher, who's not super comfortable with tech, because I know there's a lot of teachers out there who are like, if I can get it on video, it's a win. So he just sets up his computer, has a whiteboard, and he's writing on his whiteboard while he does a video chat with his students. As simple as that, right?
You're right. Yeah, just no sense complicating it. Start slow. That works. No, I like it. Like it. All right, what do we have next? Let's just see. There were some questions about French, but without Joel here, I see he's actually posting some cool links, but we're going to hold tight and we're going to get Joel in our next recording. We're going to give all sorts of resources for our French teachers. Let's go to, Trevor, post-secondary. Any comments, advice for the post-secondary teachers that are going this route?
Well, I mean, I think we've talked about it before. Getting up and communicating is obviously the very first one. As someone in the IT side, that we're trying to get our faculty, or not our faculty, but our admin people and stuff up and running, over communicate. People are confused. They don't know what they're doing. Push out those emails, create those documents, do the videos, do drop-in Q&As. That's one thing I've found, and we'll be scheduling like almost one every 2 or 3 days is drop-in where people can come in. We'll talk for 10 minutes, just like you did here. You talk 10 minutes about whatever the issue of the day is. So whether it's VPN or multi-factor as well. And then it's just Q&A. Because that's the thing is, like you said, there's all these resources, and Darren hit it on the head. We are overwhelmed with resources. I've got so much stuff to read, but I just want something short, and having a Q&A drop in is probably a very effective way for people to address that.
Yeah, that connection, right? Communication, good job, I like it. Also in the chat, we just had Chris Webb from Montreal has offered up some resources for those of you that are looking for French help. So Chris, do you have some links that Emily can share in the chat?
Yeah, like I know that Curio like the is available, the CBC and like the Canadian Film Board, they have a load of content that's in French. If you're in Quebec, you have access through your school board's single sign-on system to a load of the government's French content for free as well. Most schools also have access to ebooks that you can borrow at home for free as well. They also have audiobooks that you can borrow and listen to as well. So those are in French. And again, in Quebec, each school board has been asked to provide resources in French as well. So all of those should be accessible through the individual school boards' websites.
Nice, excellent. I've lost the video feed on my end, but we're going to just assume that all is running well, and we'll just keep going on. And maybe if Emily, if you want to post in our chat, if everything's still okay, we've got just 5 more minutes. We're going to answer a couple more questions. We're also going to make sure that these resources that we're all talking about and the things that Chris mentioned that is being provided by the Quebec government, we're going to get those links to you guys. What's the last question? You know what, maybe let's maybe finish it off with, oh, good. They're still good. They can still hear us. Yay. Let's finish it off just really quickly with Charity. I think, what about teachers that now don't even have an option? Substitute teachers, temp teachers. What do you think?
Yeah, I was doing some subbing for some private schools, and now obviously I'm left in the lurch. But you know what? I just want to put the message out there that prior to this, teachers needed relief, they needed support, and wellness has been paramount. If you look at any social media, it's about teacher wellness and how are they doing. And a lot of teachers are really stressed about this, and a lot of you watching are probably feeling the stress. So if your board has budget, I just want you to think about that relief that can be provided by substitute teachers still. Consider them. We're here to help, and we're willing to work with your teachers. Those of us with the skill set in educational technology, we're more than willing to help out and provide that relief and support. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Well, and I think we can all just hope for the best and know that things hopefully will settle soon enough. With that and 3 minutes left, anything else from the panel? Just knowing that we're going to do this all over again in a few hours. It'll be all new questions. So if you want to come back and join us again, but before we sign off, and before Darren sings a song to close us out, any questions or comments from the panel? Or requests for songs for Darren?
I think Darren should sing us out.
I think he should. And yeah, I think we got this together, Canada. We got this. So Darren, what do you got?
Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Saying don't worry about a thing.
Let's see if we get the panel singing along. See what Meet does.
Every little thing
Unmute, you guys.
be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. My Wi-Fi was working, so I didn't get stressed out. I got my meat going. Oh, hey Jude, that's a good one. Actually, maybe not Hey Jude, what about? What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song. I will try not to sing out of key. I get by with little help from my friends. Yeah, I'm gonna try with little help from my friends. Baby, I get by with little help from my friends. Ooh. See y'all at 4.
Nice job. Thank you, everyone. You got this. Take care.